All right, take 4. Actually, this is take 2. But so, welcome. It's review day for the Freesolo. We had our shakedown trip 2 weekends ago. So, found out a lot more about it. No real issues, no major complaints, a lot of little stuff we found. So, Shanna's got her redecorating she wants to do. This is our second review, technically. We did come out and do this the other day, and turns out the GoPro audio messed up, so we're redoing it. So you will notice a wardrobe change between the outside and inside, because the inside stuff was a few days back. But on with the review. Starting up here at the front, the first thing is the jack. If you watched our old R-Pod videos, you saw that we had a automatic jack on it, motorized, powered, I don't know how you want to call it.
Electric jack.
Electric jack. Shanna's on it. So we had the electric jack on it, and it seized on us one day. When it seized, you couldn't even do the manual override. So we had to jack up the trailer, put blocks under it, and then replace it while it was on here. Total pain. So this is better in that regards. The bad side of this is the time it takes to lift up and down, and then if you've got weight distribution bars, which we do, then you've got to lift it up again and then back down, and so it's back and forth quite a bit. Does add some time, but not a huge deal. The other thing with this, if you buy one of these, we had, oh, my show and tell is over there. We had a block we'd bought specifically for the tongue jack to sit on, so we didn't have to go as far down with it, a little more stable. This has a rectangular foot on it instead of round, so that doesn't work. So we're probably gonna have to swap that out. And also the foot that is on this jack is really loose, so going down the road it just dangles and makes noise. So I got to where I just took it off when we're going down the road just to get a little quieter. Also, as far as noise goes on the front of this thing, they did hook both safety chains to the same hook, so that puts them close enough together that they just rattle off one another going down the road a lot.
It's loud.
So if you're the type that likes to have your windows down when you're towing,
or has to.
well, that's a different issue. But so if you happen to have your windows down when you're towing, it is pretty loud and annoying. I wish they would have put a hook on this side and this side, and then moved the chains further apart so you didn't have that.
Because our old one had that,
Yeah,
right?
yep. But once again, minor. Outside of that, no complaints. We do like that this has the larger tray on the front of this, so we can go to dual batteries later. So that's good, and other than that, nothing really special at the front. It's a trailer. So we'll move around to the side and show you a thing or two on that one.
It's a window.
Yep. Yeah, from a review standpoint, there's not too much on the outside of this thing. I will say that the outdoor shower with the hot and cold is much more beneficial on this camper than it was on our R-Pod. The R-Pod had more space inside and a normal bathroom and a little more kitchen area, so we utilized that. On this one, being the wet bath and limited kitchen, we rinsed dishes off, did a lot of that kind of stuff out here with this. And also the wet bath is small enough that if I was boondocking out in the country somewhere, I'd have me a little shower curtain and I would just put swim trunks on and use this as a shower instead of the wet bath. But Shannon won't let me do that at a state park.
No, you're not allowed to do that at state park.
But other than that, that's really it on this side. No complaints, everything's pretty standard. Okay, next thing on the outside is the under storage. So this seems to have more space than our R-Pod did. Shanna was able to fit a lot more into it. Her only complaint after using it a few times was instead of magnets on this, it's got just a hook system. So it is possible if you hit it, you could accidentally let it swing down. I'm indifferent on the two systems. Shanna likes the other.
Yeah, I like the other one better.
And then in an upcoming video, when I start doing modifications, you'll see how I'm correcting for an issue underneath here. There's basically air gap that goes from inside here into the inside of the camper. So I am going to cover that in detail on another video. But once again, all minor. The last thing on the outside that we had a little bit of a, not really even a complaint, but we need to take care of, is the door. The hinge they used, whether it's alignment or just a hinge, watch, I won't do it now, but
Not as squeaky today.
It's not as squeaky today, but this door is way squeakier than our other camper was. So, got to get that figured out.
I need to figure out the stairs too.
What about the stairs?
I want to get a double one because I don't like how high it is.
Yeah, so our driveway is pretty sloped. If you've kept up with our channel, you've heard me complain about that a lot. So for where the single step is, that's about the height of it because we're on a slope. So it would be nice to have a second, especially if you have an old dog.
Oh, too. It was like that in the campground. It was just hard to get up in it.
It wasn't quite this bad, but
wasn't much better.
Still a bigger step than we'd like. So we might switch this out to double steps, but that'll be down the road. But other than that, everything worked well on the outside of it and no complaints. The one thing, oh, I guess there's one thing I can go show you on the other side again. Okay, so once again, in an upcoming video that I'm putting together some upgrades with, you'll see I remove a propane line from this. Where they ran the propane line underneath here is actually going to benefit me later. So you can see they have got a valve block here for all the propane lines. I removed this one here that went to the stovetop. It went up through a connection here they had. They just had it ported through with a pipe, and then it was foamed in. So I removed that line, refoamed it so it's sealed to the cabin. Where that's going to help me later is when I do the rooftop solar. I really don't want to drill more holes into the camper, so now I can just pull out that insulation, run the wires underneath and up into that and go right to my inverter. So that'll help later. But that covers everything on the outside, so we'll jump inside to the review already in progress. Okay, we'll start with the bed here. One issue we did have, the bed slept really hot. So I mean, it's a cheap mattress that came with it. But also, if you notice, underneath this backboard is the underneath storage. And then this part is all your electronics. Which there's a bug running around down there.
Let me see. Yeah, there is a bug. So,
a couple issues with this. One, the height is off a little bit right here. So there's a drop, so that's right where Shannon was sleeping. So I'm gonna have to shim that back up.
That kind of hurt my back.
But then, where that underneath storage is, it gets really hot, and then that's just like it radiates the heat up through. So then when we're sleeping, the first half of the night was just like a furnace in here. So that same silver insulating material I put on the door, we're going to put across the bottom of this under the mattress, and then put one of the little egg carton meshy foam whatever separators you're supposed to put for the moisture to get circulated. So we'll put that down too. So that should help that, and then we'll upgrade the mattress. The other thing we noticed while we were there...
Actually, I noticed this before we went.
Yeah. So at the edge here, you have this seam that goes down the edge. You can't really tell right now, but like when the sun hits it right, you see light come up from there from the underneath storage. So I'm going to get underneath and get some expanding foam and go down this entire line. And then go around all these areas and kind of seal that up so we have a little bit of a tighter fit.
Well, that's really...
Well, that's the bathroom stuff.
Yeah. Never noticed that.
So same thing on this side.
This one's a little bit bigger though.
You can see that. So I'm just going to fill all that stuff in. That way there's not air coming from the underneath storage up in here, and to stop spots for bugs. Whoa.
Yeah, don't hit your head.
Yeah. And then Shanna found the little clip-on fans. So we aimed that right at us. That did help at night. Then our air conditioning fix. So the last video, or a couple videos back, I can't remember exactly when, there was an issue where this, once it was on for too long, was dripping down on the stove. So I took all this out and I shimmed the drip plate underneath of it so it would go the other direction. That worked really well. No issues, other than one thing we forgot. So Shanna came out the day we were leaving and spent the morning out here, so she turned the AC on. got everything prepped for the day. Then we unhooked the power, hooked up to the Tahoe, headed to the campground. What we forgot was, since this was on, there was water on that tray. Then as we were driving down the road, if you made a left turn, it tilts, all that water rushed off and came off in transit. So we'll have to remember that for next time, to either figure a better way to drain that, or I'm gonna have to take some fast right turns before we can't do any lefts. And because even the way it was going, since we're going down the road, you could tell that it was up a little bit, because the water didn't go down on the stove, it all landed up here. And it wasn't much water, but I mean enough that you want to keep it out.
It didn't do it on the way home, though.
Yeah, on the way home it didn't, so whatever was different, we drained it enough, or it didn't run as long. Then this was not hard to take out. And the current one struggles, which once again, it's July in Georgia, 100 degrees, so you're asking a lot of it, but it's a 5,000 BTU. We might look for one that's a little bit more efficient and a little bit of a higher output, and by next spring, summer, might swap that and upgrade that. But it did pretty good. This winter we'll have to go camping to test out the furnace, but once again, everything works. So, shower. There's the ceiling. I'm like 5'10", so if you're 6 foot or taller, this ain't working. I could probably make it work if I needed to. Having said that, I am going to relocate this shower head to the other wall, because right now it's just an awkward spot. So we're going to get it moved to the other wall so it comes back this way, and that'll help. Then we'll have to decide some upgrades from there.
We got to figure out a holder for the toilet paper.
Holder. Yeah,
that won't matter if it gets wet or
Yep.
anything.
But other than that...
Oh, the other thing is I'm very short. And using that bathroom, my feet does not even touch the flooring. So it is very odd. And you feel like you're going to fall through sometimes. That's my downside of this. And I don't know how to get away from having that hump, because I think that's where the tire is. So for taller people, it probably wouldn't be an issue. For a 5'2½", it is.
So yeah, the toilet is a little bit awkward because of the height. You feel like a little kid on the potty, feet just dangling. And then the foot pedal to flush it is kind of tucked up in there, so you kind of have to do this weird move with your foot to get it. I didn't have as much trouble, but Shanna being shorter, of course, she's raising her foot higher trying to get to it and all that. But it's better than a composting toilet to me, and it's better than having to walk to the bathrooms at a campground all the time. But other than that, really, from a design and fit and finish, no real complaints. I mean, we really like it, so it's a matter of upgrades from there. So Shanna's wanting to completely redesign in here, make it all customized to us. We were discussing, I mean, depending on how you camp, we do most of our cooking outside. It's rare we use the inside cooking stuff. Since this is such limited space, we're talking about getting rid of some of this. The first thing would be this cooktop. So it's not bad having the dual burner cooktop, but you also have no counter space here. So what I'm talking about doing is taking this out and then kind of putting a little, maybe 3-inch deep cabinet underneath of it, and then building a cutting board to hinge on top of that. So then we could have all of our cooking utensils and silverware in that drawer where they're not going to come out. You'd have a cutting board instead of the cooktop. So then you have a place to prep all your food and take it outside to cook. So that would help some storage and prep space. The second thing is the microwave. We used it, and it's okay to have, but once again, since there's limited storage, and we don't really need it, so we talked about just getting rid of this. So I might rip this out and then make a cabinet up here so we have more of like pantry storage. And then we'll either get a small portable microwave, or even before that, like Shanna likes bringing her air fryer sometimes. So we might just do the air fryer, bring that with us, and then we could set that on the cutting board and cook in here if we need to. Or take it outside, hook up to the outside outlet. So that'd be the idea on that.
Okay, talking about taking this and making this just a full counter would be nice for me. Other than this, I'm not taking the sink out. Because, one thing, we don't have a backsplash. And it gets all yucky. Which we could put a backsplash in. But my thoughts is that I don't want the camper smelling like food. I don't want grease on there. And I need a more cooking space. And then the microwave thing, we don't use it that much. We never did in our pod. So I'd like more cabinets. So that's why I'm like, okay, let's redesign this. Plus, I'd like to make some more types of shelving down here if we can around the plumbing so that some of this stuff don't go crazy. And then we'll get some other stuff to be able to store stuff. And I did find these at Walmart. These are going to be very nice for our next trip. And I'm super excited. We got ginger.
For those of you that don't know, I'm sure you've picked up on all of our Keep Your Daydream t-shirts we're always wearing, since that's half our wardrobe now. But as part of being the KYD Insider, you get one of these, so Shanna's really excited about it.
I am excited.
Okay, so one more thing that won't affect most people probably, but it was an issue for me, very minor, and I'm going to have to figure out a creative solution to it, is if you happen to carry a firearm, there's not really a good storage spot in here to keep it readily available in a safe location. So I'm going to have to try to find, whether it's up top here or up on the top of this little wall back here, I'm going to try to custom make something where I can clip my holster and have it available. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to figure out something to put the gun holster into. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. I just want it kind of tucked out of the way but readily available. So I'll figure that out. But really, other than that, that's all we got for it. I got a few car repairs to do later this afternoon, so it'll be tomorrow before I get to start doing some upgrades, but I'll probably come out here and film tomorrow, show you how I'm closing in all these little side seams, and depending on how far Shanna wants me to go with it, I might rip that microwave out tomorrow so we can start mapping out what we want to do with that. But in the meantime, we'll keep rolling here. But as far as a review, that'd wrap review stuff up. So if you're enjoying and want to keep up with what we're doing with this, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Helps us out. And then we got several more trips we're going to start planning, and in between all that, we'll be doing a lot of repairs around the house, and hope you keep tagging along.